Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Building a Nation with Polonia Warszawa, the Looking Forward series. So, this episode, I think I'm going to break it, because we've got 95 players, so I'm going to break it down, unless there's any ones that are just not in there for whatever reason, to roughly 20 and a bit per episode. That way, but it depends on how much time I'm going to spend on them. We're starting here with Scott DeVos. I thought that he wasn't in it for some reason, because I forgot that there was no space between D and Vos. So, yeah, he's a player. He didn't really have that much of an effect on this club at all. We're not going to focus too much on him. It's just interesting that my random number generator picked him to start things off here. He has no staff history whatsoever. After he joined us, he made no appearances for the club whatsoever. Went to Katowice for a little bit and barely played, in all honesty, after he joined us. Yet somehow, Cologne still thought it was a good time to spend £2.7 million on him. That is one of the most baffling things we got him for free, and they spent that amount of money on him. It's utterly mental. Although, admittedly, he did get 77 games for them. So, actually, he must have been with us during this period. It's just because he never actually played for them. So, there you go. That is Scott DeVos. Next up, it's a big one. It's Alberto Freitas. Oh, you can bet your ass this guy had a staff role. So, let's have a little look at his... Yes, he has had a staff role. So, Polonia Warszawa. Basically, an absolute god for us for nearly 20 years. Made 443 appearances for Polonia Warszawa before going back to Portugal to finish his career with a couple of seasons playing for Benfica. And he was a staff member after this. 81 caps for Portugal, 6 goals. Insane. Won loads of Champions Leagues, obviously, and just truly ridiculous. I mean, look at his career milestones. The amount of trophies he's won. But now, this is where things start to get interesting, because he retired at staff at the age of 66. Let's have a little look at, we want landmarks on this one. Oh, Jesus. Right. That is insane. Oh, he's done all right in his career, hasn't he? So he started off, weirdly, as a fitness coach at Vitesse over in Holland. Then went to Sampdoria as a fitness coach, and somehow that earned him the Roma job, because that's how football works, isn't it? And then he was actually at... he got Espanyol to be the runner-up in the Copa del Rey, so he didn't particularly do great at Roma, unfortunately, and he had to sort of drop down for a little bit, and then finally got somewhere with, oh my god, is he one of the reasons that NAC Breda started to become something? This is getting good now. Right, so yeah, he took over at Espanyol, did all right, got him to the Copa del Rey final, then took over Hamburg, did nothing, then went to Leicester, did nothing, Palace, nothing. I mean, for all we know that this could have been something, but it just wasn't enough to finish high on here. But then went to NAC Breda, finished second in the Eredivisie, runner-up in the Johan Cruyff Schal. I don't know what that is, it's probably a Dutch Cup. Third in the Eredivisie. He won... I literally don't know what that is either. So he did, get a second and a third. He won a couple of trophies, not sure on exactly what they are, but it was enough for him to get the Atalanta job. Then Tottenham, didn't do great there. Gangon, but then came back to the Netherlands with Ajax and only got them to finish third. So again, not amazing. He's not won any league titles yet, it would seem. Went to Ingolstadt and did allow them to win the second division in Germany. So he got them promoted, which is nice. Fair play to him on that one. Then went to Groningen after that. And yeah, that was his final... well, not his final job in management, but his final sort of successful job in management, it would seem, was to win that Johan Cruyff Schal again. He's won that a few times in his career. So, not the greatest manager in the world, never won a league title in a domestic division other than the German second tier. Had some promise, be fair to say, did a decent job at NAC. He's probably, I would guess, pretty favoured personnel over at NAC Breda. But after leaving Groningen, he did go back to Crystal Palace, was the Russia manager for a couple of seasons, did 2 years at Excelsior, 1 year at PSV, and finally finished things off with a little stint at Napoli, just to have a lovely career in the sunshine there. But the fact is, look at his playing record with Polonia Warszawa, 430 appearances. He left the club at the final twilight of his career. I imagine as a free transfer, if I have to guess here. Finally hung up his boots. Actually doesn't even say. So my guess is yes, that would be kind of how things went. But still, what an absolute lad Alberto Freitas is. Got the Polonia Stadium named after him. Probably one of the greatest legends in the club's history. Alberto Freitas. Surely a name that must be one of the front runners to potentially manage things for Notts County on FM20. I'm just saying, Right, next up is Leonardo Maurice Prado. Now, we're not quite so interested in him. Let's be clear about this. So look at his landmarks here, and we'll get this one switched. No, we'll leave that as it is right now. So, 88 caps for Belgium. Not bad. We can't really deny that. He did not play for us a great deal. Only got 10 appearances. I assume he moved on for some sizable money. But he's played for some big clubs. I mean, look at this. Liverpool, Arsenal, New England Revolution, and then came back to England again. Let's just have a look at his transfer fees then, since it makes sense. Yeah, he joined Liverpool for £30 million. Yeah, and then went to Hanover on loan and Fiorentina on loan. So yeah, I mean, he actually won Serie A in there, that appearance, and the Nations League. Won the World Cup too. Joined Arsenal for £32 million. So, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Went on loan to Brighton in the New England Revolution. So, his career certainly did not exactly flourish in the way that we might have expected it to, and yet somehow he still moved for £30 million, around about that amount, on 2 different occasions, and got 88 caps for Belgium, including winning a World Cup. Retired at the age of 34, I'm guessing after his career with Arsenal, which kind of didn't really work. Did in fact, he was at Brighton. Oh no, he went to Brighton after that, and was there for 6 years, finishing off his career. Bit of a sort of an underrated legend at Brighton, I would have said at that point, so fair play to the lad. Well done, Leonardo, Maurice, Prado. Next up, it's Devon Hoxha. Here he is, 35-year-old Devon Hoxha. 87 appearances for Albania, 8 goals while he was at it. Landmarks, wow, he won nothing as a player. In fairness, it's because we signed him in the early days of the save, so he might not have been as good as perhaps... At the time, he was good for us, but as we progressed, perhaps it didn't really work out for him. Like, he only made 3 appearances for Roma, Twente, Provercelli. These were all loan spells, I'm guessing. Trabzonspor, CSK Moscow, Gangomp, then went to Austria for a little bit. I mean, was there any actual transfer fees after that? 1.2 million was where he did that, and then I don't think he finally joined Rapid Vienna for £600,000. I mean, yeah, he didn't exactly have the best career, really. He won, I'm guessing that's the League Cup with Gangomp. So yeah, that's Devon Hoxha. Not a great one. That next up though is, this is a weird one. This is Elias Jost. Now, this is a player that I'd signed very, very recently, and you would have never seen him before. But he was meant to be quite decent. Ooh, although it would appear that he didn't actually turn out to be quite as decent as I thought he might have been. That is quite surprising. He only got 5 caps for France in the end after retiring at the age of 36. He only played 1 senior appearance. Okay, he was highly rated by my scouts at the time, and this is what I mean about getting things wrong. Like, this is very, very evident about how much we got things wrong here. So I don't think I paid that much for the lad at the end of the day. I don't know if we can even see this. Started his career there, breaking into the first team, joined Polonia Warszawa. Well, it says making 44 appearances, scoring 10 goals, but I don't think that's quite how that works. I guess it's because it divides things weirdly. I don't know. Let's have a little quick gander at his history here. Oh, wait, no. So why is that? Oh, it's because of that. I didn't realise it. Yeah, he had all these loan spells, and then he came back to us later on. So, yeah, he did all right. He played a decent amount of games for Polonia. Maybe at 45, got a few goals, but then somehow managed to parlay that into a move to bloody Real Madrid for £40 million. So he clearly wasn't that bad. Got 27 goals and made 100 appearances nearly for Real Madrid, and then suddenly thought, you know what? I feel like I'm going to move to Rangers now. And fair enough to him, I suppose, really. Can't argue with that. And then he played for Dunfermline and Motherwell to finish off his career. That's a very strange career path. To be sort of an averagey kind of player for us, get picked up for £40 million by Real Madrid, and then spend the rest of his career in Scotland. An odd one, it would be fair to say. Although he does appear to have some landmarks, though. Won a decent amount of stuff with both us, and obviously a decent amount of stuff with Real Madrid. So you can't really argue with that. But the fact that he only got 5 caps for France is a bit disappointing, if you're him, you'd have to say. Next up, though, is an Icelandic lad who never really got much of a chance for us. It's Halldor Vidarsson. But this one, he was a staff member. So, you could see here, he only ever made 7 appearances for us. Had a lot of loan spells at various other clubs before I eventually sold him to Fulham for, I think, £2.5 million or something like that. That would make sense, though. Went to Sampdoria for a little bit. Played for Everton for quite a long period of time. Newcastle. Like, this guy was decent. He played in the Premier League. 135 caps for Iceland. Eventually finished his career playing in Switzerland, would you believe? Like, he's had some pretty solid seasons, for Everton and for Fulham. Once he got into the Premier League and played in England for a bit, he was decent, it would certainly seem. I don't think he had any huge transfer fees, it would seem. It's hard to tell. This really doesn't explain that very well. What about his landmarks? Like, he won some stuff with us, won a cup over in the Netherlands, and he was the Europa League runner-up with Everton. But, he was also a staff member. How did he... Oh, wow! Sorry, that's pretty cool. He only managed 1 team ever, and he was Iceland manager for 9 years. But it would seem that he did not achieve a great deal as a manager. But the very fact that he has 1 managerial job in his entire career, and it was to be Iceland manager. He done it for 9 years and just went, nah, I've had enough of that. I've had enough of that. Oh, such a shame, but he has been a staff member. 3 caps for Brazil, 1 goal, and he got that during his period at us. There's another guy that was called Fran, who's a scout, and I thought it was going to be him, but in fact it was not. So, how did it go? 110 appearances for Polonia and 54 goals. Like, that's pretty damn good, to be honest. How much did he eventually leave to go to Palace for? I don't know if we're actually going to find out. It doesn't always tell you, which is a shame. Then he went to Olympiacos, didn't do great, and then he moved to Israel and had a relatively nice time over in Israel here. So, he had some, look at that. He got 19 goals for us one season. He was a pretty solid player for us. He didn't really break double figures for the rest of his career, which is a bit of a shame. The fact that he got called up to the Brazilian squad, I think that was just on the basis of him being a pure brilliant player for us in places. I hoped he would have an alright year, an alright career, and it does appear that he actually did. 68 caps for Poland, 19 goals. That's good. No managerial roles after that, unfortunately. He didn't even really play for Polonia that much, to be honest. He got one season where he got 14 appearances and then moved on to Lyon after that. I assume for quite a large amount of money, it would seem. £15 million. He did make 100 league appearances over 5 years for Lyon, though, so that's pretty damn impressive. And then Wolves signed him for £40 million, and he made 113 appearances for Wolves. So this guy's quality. Then he joined Midtjylland to sort of finish off his career, played a couple of seasons over in Denmark, did all right, then eventually joined Ludogorets over in Bulgaria. So what about landmarks? You know, he won some decent stuff with us. Didn't actually win anything major with he got to the Europa League final with Wolves though, but was part of a decent Wolves team for that and was clearly a pretty solid Premier League player. 68 caps for Poland and 19 goals for Poland is actually a very, very good record for an attacking right-sided player. So Rafa Bronchevsky, I think we were right about him being a potential star, but perhaps not like a world-class player. Retired at the age of 36. Unfortunately, no staff for him. I really just want to find a player that can match Herman Carballo's staff history and to have maybe won a Champions League as a staff member as well. I have that in my heart. I hope that we can find one. Next up, though, it's Victor Hugo. You will all, of course, remember him as the star. Oh, wow, his career did not go the way he wanted it to, did it? He declared for Poland and then never got called up, the poor sod. That's a shame. I would have liked to have seen him get a call up for Poland like Herman Carballo did, but I think that's because he did that during our... Then again, Mariano Bravo got called up for Denmark, didn't he? So that's a bit of a weird one. 131 appearances for Polonia and 69 nice goals for us. Went to Newcastle. That was the big deal, basically. £5.5 million, and he only played 7 times for them. That's a real shame. But then moved on for £4.1 million and had a sort of secondary career. 8 years he spent over at CSKA over in Russia. Did not score a lot of goals for them, though. That is the really disappointing thing. He got 23 league goals for us one season. I mean, actually, it's disturbingly bad how he only scored 6 times in 106 games for CSKA Moscow, but he got 69 goals for us. That's quite a surprise. Yeah, didn't have the best career in the end. Ended at 34 years old. Never got a call up to a national team. Poor old Victor Hugo. Probably got some landmarks with us, though. Yeah, won a fair amount of things with us during the early parts of his career before he made that terrible move to Newcastle United. Next up is Juan Martini Iglesias. This is an exciting one. You have no idea how disappointed I am that he didn't get a managerial career after this. My giddy freaking art. Look at this. 97 caps for Argentina as well. For a player from Argentina to get 97 caps, that's impressive. 525 appearances for Polonia Warszawa over 18 or is it 19 years he was at Polonia. He and Alberto Freitas have stood out to me as being the absolute gods so far. And he conceded less than a goal every other game. He then spent one final part of his career at Lens towards the very, very, very end. Did one season, played 4 times for them. But look at his career with us, making 30-odd appearances virtually every single season for like 18 years. 525 appearances. The record appearance holder for Polonia Warszawa is Juan Martin Iglesias. That is a huge thing for us. Retired at 37. You would have liked to have seen him go on and have an even better career, but like, I mean, look at his landmarks. His landmarks is going to be insane. Look at this. He's won everything with Polonia. 54 league or trophies he's won, and 6 runner-ups and 3rd places. 15 best goalkeeper awards as well. I mean, he's got to be one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time. Like, he has to be. Didn't ever win a World Cup, though, unfortunately, which is a big shame for the lad, but I assume he probably won some Copa Americas in there too, it would appear so. Or certainly won some best goalkeepers as well. So, next up, it's Jan. Bloody hell, finally managed to find him. He was a sticky one. He was a tough one to find there. It doesn't appear that he's had the greatest career, to be honest, anyway. Although, I feel like he had an amazing season with Zag. He had one year where he was dominant for them before Christmas. Like he really, really was absolutely fantastic for a season. He was on loan from us, I think. Yeah, he must have been. Got 6 goals for them. He was really responsible for them being amazing. But then I feel like we sold him to Zag and then he went to Botafogo or something like that. Or was it another player? Oh, that was Marlyn, wasn't it? It was Marlyn that was that guy. So yeah, then eventually went back over into... Well, interesting, he went... Wow, okay, so it was a bit of a strange one. So he went back to Brazil for a while for Grêmio, then came back to Europe for Celtic, and then over in France with Troyes, and then went to St Mirren to finish his career. I assume he won plenty of things. Won a lot of stuff with us, and then he won a few things with Grêmio over in Brazil. No caps, retired at the age of 34. Marlyn is the one that Zag really made a mistake in letting go, because I reckon he's gone on to have a damn decent career, because they were doing amazingly when he was at the club, and then they ruined things completely by letting him go. Next up is Mamadou Boateng. Now, this is another of those players that I bought and I thought, okay, he could potentially be something for us, but we never got the chance to see whether that was going to be the case. 74 caps for Ghana. Now, I swear he was French to start with. I don't know this. I'm guessing not, though. So, okay, for some reason I thought he was French. I think it's because he was from a French club. Oh, no, he started at Asante Kotoko. So we bought him from Strasbourg or Bordeaux, I think it was actually. Yeah, £7.5 million. Didn't really get a chance for us, really. He got 8 appearances in total for us. But then he moved to Nice, and what a career he had for them. Only cost them £8.5 million, so we only made £1 million on him. But he played nearly 400 league games for Nice in that period before finishing his career over in Dubai. Again, unfortunately, look at this. I mean, that is a consistent player. Presumably, he would have won stuff at Nice. He got a couple of runners-up in Africa Cup of Nations. Got to UEFA European Championship under-19 winners with Lechia. I don't remember that happening. That's amazing. But he did win some stuff when he was at Nice. Coupe de France, a few African awards. 74 caps for Ghana, though, and 15 goals. Not too bad. Retired at the age of 37. Come on, we need more staff members. Next up, it's Glenn Cornelis, the Belgian DM. Another one that didn't quite make it. 34 years old when he retired. Only 40 caps for Belgium in the end. Made 10 appearances for Polonia in that time, but did play for Everton for 200 appearances. So he definitely had a decent career, and he joined Everton for nearly 20 million quid. So at the very least, we made a decent amount of money out of him. Next up, Thiago Varus. 1 cap for Portugal. The lad did in fact manage to get a cap for Portugal. He played for us for a little bit. 62 appearances. In fact, that's the most he ever got for any club. He sort of dotted around a load of massive sides, but never really found a home, it would seem. That's quite amazing. Look at this. He played for Schalke, West Ham, Barca, City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and then West Ham again. Was that on loan? I don't know. Let's have a little gander here. £35 million to Schalke. Went on loan to West Ham. Fair enough. Then moved to Barcelona for 43 million. Then moved to Manchester City for 47 million. That is insane. Then moved to Real Madrid for 28 million. Despite never really playing that much for any of these sides, he's certainly moved around a little bit. I bet his landmarks are insane. I mean, he won a load of stuff with us, obviously, but he won a load of stuff for Barca, Real Madrid, Manchester City. Considering he only ever got 1 cap for Portugal, he's had a pretty illustrious career and won the European Championships with them. I wonder if he played in that European Championships. Do you reckon he got a medal for it? That seems like it's the most likely thing. And again, no management career. Retired at the age of 36. God damn it, man. But next up is Pettish. This is a guy who we all thought and all know is going to be decent. Surely. Did he stay with us, though? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Wow, did he really only make 118 appearances for Polonia? That feels really strange. But I guess that's the way it must have been. I guess it's because he mostly played as our Champions League starter. So I guess it takes him a little while, but he did then move to Real Madrid, so we know that for a fact, and then went to Burnley to finish off his career in the end. Wow. Probably the best signing I ever made. Like, it cost us like 50 grand, and he was worth... I dread to think how much it cost Real Madrid to sign this guy. He moved to Real Madrid, doesn't actually say how much they paid for him, which is a shame. It might have been a free transfer, to be honest. 102 caps for the Czech Republic, 5 goals in that period, but he did go on to be a staff member for 6 till he was 66. This is where I'm excited about. Come on, show me that staff history, boys. Staff history. Come on. Okay, so he started off as the Utrecht under-19 manager. That's right, under-19 coach. Then moved to Hertha, and he never actually got himself a managerial job. Oh, that's such a shame. He could not quite pull it off. Like, he was a coach at Hertha and Dortmund. He was caretaker manager of Hertha Berlin for probably like a week and a half. Then he was a coach at Mainz and a coach at Atletico. So clearly he was a really talented coach to be at these clubs for so long. I mean, look at this. He was at Mainz for a year, but then he spent the next 20 years of his career being a coach at Atletico Madrid. Like, that's a huge achievement, but he never quite got the managerial role that he might well have been looking for. He probably maybe... I would love the idea that perhaps he managed 1 game as Hertha Berlin manager, but he never quite did it. But it's still a decent career, but it doesn't quite match the likes of Herman Carballo. He is by far the best success story so far, but Freitas did all right. I'll give him that. He did all right. Next up, Nicola Totarov. You can't really expect much of old Nicola Totarov. We signed him earlier in the save. He played for us for a while, eventually moved back to Bulgaria for Bero Stara Zagora and played there for 200 appearances. Got 7 caps for Bulgaria in the end, though, but retired at the age of 34 after having a reasonable career. I assume he's got some landmarks here. Yes, he won one of the cups in Poland with us. We obviously don't know much about the Bulgarian league, so there's no landmarks for that one, but still, an okay career for him. Next up, though, is Radu Ardelean. Now, this lad, of course, was a Romanian centre-back that we signed towards the end of the save, so we don't know that much about how his career would have gone here. He never actually made a single appearance for us. Did play for Katowice, though, for 50 appearances, moving to Strasbourg, PSV Eindhoven, Leverkusen, Augsburg, and then Ghent. Played a long time at Augsburg, so let's see how this one works. So let's just see. Failed to make a league appearance for us. Spent time on loan at a few... Oh, no, so he was only on loan there, weirdly. But 53 appearances is a lot. And eventually we sold him to Bayer Leverkusen in the end for £1.6 million. So there's that, I suppose. Then he eventually joined Augsburg for 8 million. So he did an all right job there. See if he actually won anything in his career. No, UEFA Youth League when he was very, very young, and obviously that lower league cup with us. So not the best career. That being said, he did get 101 caps for Romania. So that's quite a lot of caps. So you could argue he's had a pretty decent career in the grand scheme of things. Next up, Stanislav Pillar. Alberto is coming up in today's episode as well. We're going to finish on player 25, which I'm going to give you an idea as Juan Orosco, just to give you a little bit of taste of what's to come. Stanislav Pillar. Let's see. Whoa. You might remember him as I think he was Slovakian player who, joined us early on in the save. I think we moved him on pretty... Oh, he's been a staff manager. This is what I want to see. Oh, hello. He's had a pretty damn good career, in all honesty. So, a very weird career, in fact. I guess he went on loan to Slovan Bratislava from PSG. Moved to PSG, spent time on loan over there as well. Didn't really get a chance to play for them. In fact, most of these, I'm guessing, were loan spells, it would seem. Before he finally got his move, I'm guessing, really. Where did he actually finally get his move here? After leaving Paris Saint, he moved to Sevilla. So his first permanent move was to Sevilla, and that was where his career really sort of took off, although he did go out on loan, weirdly, in the middle of that. I'm guessing some kind of strange, confluence of circumstances there. So, didn't win anything as a player. Sorry, won stuff as a player. Well, he won the Super Cup with PSG, Slovakian Cup winners. So, the Czechoslovakian Cup winners. That's a strange one. Copa del Rey runner-up, and the Supercopa de España runner-up. So, wow, he actually played in Saudi Arabia for quite some time towards the end of his career, which is a strange one, I've got to say. Right, let's see how his staff career went, since it wasn't... I'm guessing... Oh, he was a scout. Started off as a scout at Excelsior, then did 15 years nearly at Marseille, a little bit at Inter, and then finished off with a 13-year stint at Wolves as a scout. So Stanislav, with 128 caps for Slovakia, he must be a Slovakian legend. Leandro Albarracin, such a shame. Once again, no bloody managerial career. This is a real shame. But he did get 242 appearances for Polonia, so he was clearly here for a while. Or maybe like 2 years after I left. That's a shame. Eventually joined Nice for £8 million. That seems like a bit low, but I guess that's just how things go. Then played for Nice for a little bit. Then went to Basel. Sort of found himself, weirdly, at Columbus Crew. 55 appearances for him there. But look at his achievements. Like, they'll all be with us. Although he did come runner-up in the League Cup, I guess, with Nice. So I guess that's something. And 115 appearances for Peru. Probably one of the greatest Peruvian players of all time. And a goal. He did at least score a goal for them. Retired at the age of 36. Loads of individual honours. All came with us, though. Bit of a shame that he left so soon. But again, going to management, goddammit. Not enough of these players going to management. I will keep drumming that one in. Next up, Marion Pomorskie. Here he is, retired at the age of 35. I don't think he's had a particularly amazing career, it would seem. He's that player that we sold to GKS for an absurd amount of money. Like, an absolutely ridiculous amount of money. I think it was like £7 million they paid for him. He wasn't even our best left-back at the time. He did then go on to have a little bit of a career outside and played for Twente for a long, long time, to be fair. So we can't really fault him on that. Then came back to Poland for a bit. Played for Łódź for a little while and then went to Rozovia. So he didn't really have the best career outside of that. No games for Poland in the end. Landmarks... He came runner-up in a couple of trophies for Twente, but he was at Twente for a long, long time, so he had a good career out there. How long was he there? 8 years he spent over in Holland, so it wasn't a bad time for him, it would be fair to say, but he probably didn't have quite the career he'd envisioned when he made that enormous move to GKS, particularly as he only played 7 times for them. Good Christ. Anyway, let's move on to one of the final ones, Ramon Griffiths. It comes as absolutely zero surprise to me that this guy has 150 caps nearly for Jamaica. That was no surprise to me. When I saw a Jamaican player who was even half decent, I thought we might as well pick up the guy, because why the hell not at this point? He never made a full senior appearance for us, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame, but what can you do? But he then joined Stade Rennais on a free transfer and never played, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Obviously. Went out on loan to Cyprus for a little bit, did play some games over there, went to Switzerland, then eventually joined Fortuna Düsseldorf for £1.2 million, the first sort of paid transfer of his career, and then weirdly went to Trabzonspor for £3.2 million, and that's when his career really took off. Nearly 140 appearances and 27 goals while playing in Turkey for Ramon Griffiths. That's pretty damn awesome. Like, the fact that his career just sort of stalled out for quite a while, and then eventually he just found his feet towards the latter part of his career in his sort of peak years, spent them in Turkey, banging them in for Trabzonspor. Like, those are some pretty solid numbers for what is essentially... I mean, he became a striker towards the end, but I always played him as a sort of, could have sworn he was playing further back. I thought he was a left back, actually, but I'm guessing he was... usually a winger when we played him. On the left-hand side, I think, is where he would have played for us, if he ever did. Or am I thinking of someone else? Maybe I'm thinking of Mufta. I don't know. And now we're going to finish off with the final player of this episode, and that is Juan Orosco. And I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the players coming up in the next one too. Juan Orosco. Let's see. And now you kind of understand why I wanted to do this over several parts, because my voice is going already. And again, 38 years old though, and 127 caps. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, it just... He did eventually leave to join Monaco. In fact, it would appear that would be the first season afterwards. Was it like a loan agreement? I don't know. £46 million he joined Monaco for. I think this must have been after I left then. That would make sense. He certainly had a solid career. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to get as much in these videos as I would like to if I didn't break it down a little bit, because we would literally be looking at a 3-hour video, and I just can't record for that long in a go. Look at his landmarks, though. Polonia, he won an absolute buttload of stuff with Monaco as well. Pretty damn solid career. I mean, nearly 600 appearances. At the age of 38, he retired after a couple of years over at Fluminense. His record for Monaco was about as good as it was for us, which is very, very impressive. Like, he's got to be up there as one of the greatest midfielders. To retire at the age of 38, having a 600 league appearances. This guy must have won an absolute buttload of stuff, and he has won a personal award here. God knows what it is, but he's won it. Very, very impressive for Juan Orosco. Wish he would have gone into management too. Hopefully we'll find some more that can beat Herman Carballo and Alberto Freitas later down the line. Anyway, we're half an hour into this now. I've done quite a lot for this episode, so that's going to be it for now. Just to give you a little taste of what's coming up in the next episode. Oh my goodness me, you're going to like this. So we've got, who have we got? We've got Yamrog, we've got him in there, we've got Ibrahima Pereira, we've got Mateus Zvegawa coming up in that episode, along with Carol, Wojciech Fiarczyk, and Airbnb, all going to be coming up in the next episode of this. I feel like a bloody game show host at this point, but I don't care. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, and this is the first episode, I don't know why it will be, but hey, subscribe. We've got some FM20 content out soon, I guess, whenever it comes out, I suppose. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.